Hello and welcome back to Shanghai for today's race highlights from round 3 of the Xbox One F1 2016 Pro Formula Racing Chinese Grand Prix. I'm your commentator Hayden Gullis for today's race, and don't forget, if you have missed any of this racing league and want to catch up on it, then you can find everything Pro Formula related if you click the card annotation in the top right corner of your screens. You can also get involved with a few polls going on throughout the video, including voting for your driver of the day, which was won by Tom Satnav last week, so don't forget to vote for the driver who had the best race, and the winner will be announced on my Twitter the following day. Moving our focus towards today's race and around this technical 5.4 kilometer Shanghai International Circuit, which has a variety of long straight and twisty high and low speed corners. Out of those 16 corners, the one that stands out is the iconic turn 1, 2, 3 and 4 corner combination, which is an uphill 360 degree bend till turn 2 before turning back on itself through turns 3 and 4. So don't be surprised to see a few drivers run wide there, as it is a key overtaking zone. Another overtaking opportunity is at the end of the longest straight on the F1 calendar, which the cars can reach well over 210 miles per hour. So provided they can slow it down for turn 14 hairpin, then overtaking there shouldn't be difficult. The tyres available for today's race are the same as both Bahrain and Australia, but at a track where tyre wear is very high, don't expect many drivers to put on those super softs. The engines are fired up and so are the drivers, so without any further ado, let's head down to the track for the Chinese Grand Prix. Built on the swamplands on the outskirts of Shanghai, the Shanghai International Circuit began hosting Formula 1 in China back in 2004. Since then, it has held 13 Formula 1 races and 2 Pro Formula races, including the Season 1 last lap battle between Terminated 96 and Contesta. Contesta came out on top that day. Let's hope for more of that today as we get ready for round 3 of the Pro Formula Racing League. Let's take a look at the grid. The starting grid is a little bit different to how things actually ended in qualifying, and that was because of a few technical difficulties getting everybody in their actual positions after A2 Cheese D2 joined. So that is why we have a sort of mock-up grid for today's Chinese Grand Prix, with Schilling lining up in pole position for his first ever race. Can he go on to win his first race in the Pro Formula Racing League? The only other people to do that were B Greeny 10 and Terminator 96 right at the start of Season 1. Contesta lines up alongside him in second. He was involved in that last lap battle with Terminator 96 where he ended up winning the Chinese Grand Prix in Season 1. So could he go on to win today's race? Lining up on the second row though is his teammate B Greeny 10 with Hironi Pepperoni alongside him. Hironi Pepperoni will be looking to get some points here today, as he has really struggled with the start of Season 3. Terminator 96 is in 5th position despite actually getting pole in qualifying, so a little bit disappointed for him, but it'll be exciting to see how he makes his way back through the field. Curtis lines up alongside him in 6th with Tom Satnav in 7th for the Red Bull. Brobot down in 8th position, disappointing to be starting that far down despite getting, I believe, 4th in the qualifying session. A2 Cheese D2 joins the race. He didn't take part in qualifying or practice, but he joins and starts in 9th position with Pigeon Chicken, who returns to the Pro Formula Racing League down in 10th, and Fletcher 455 lining up at the back of the grid. So that is your starting grid for today's race, and without any further ado, let's head over to the action for the Chinese Grand Prix. Here we go then, it's race day for the Chinese Grand Prix. On board with the two-time world champion, Terminator 96, it's 5 red lights. Lights out, and away we go for the Chinese Grand Prix. It looks like everybody has got away cleanly indeed, going down in towards turn 1. Terminator 96 hasn't had the best of starts, going around the outside of all these guys. Oh, B Green 10 and Contesta getting very close there, with Contesta running it wide through turn 1. Terminator 96 all the way on the left-hand side, and A2 Cheese D2 goes for a spin. Brobot tries to get out of the way of the instant, doesn't know that Terminator 96 is on the left-hand side. Terminator 96 has to take a little trip across the grass there, with Contesta looking like he also had a spin down in towards turn 3. On board Tom Satnav now, and he's making his way back through the field, getting very close there of the back of Brobot 1994. Brobot 1994 runs a bit wide in towards turn 6 there, and that allows Tom Satnav to get position from him, but Tom Satnav following a completely different racing line through turn 7, and Brobot gets an easy position against the Red Bull driver. Back on board with the two-time world champion, Terminator 96, as he goes through turn 8, following behind Pigeon Chicken and Tom Satnav. Looks like he's got Contesta right behind him, who has a little look up the inside, actually gets the job done, and then allowing Contesta through. That also allows Terminator 96's teammate A2 Cheese D2 to also get past as well. So Terminator 96 has a huge gaggle of cars here down in towards turn 13. Herminator 96 gets the job done on TomNom Satnav. He's right behind Pigeon Chicken, A2 Cheese D2, and contest Herminator 96 on the right hand side of Pigeon Chicken, who squeezes him out, moves over to the left hand side, all the way off the track there. As TomNom Satnav now looks to get past him on the right hand side, down in towards turn 1, and it looks like he's got the job done in towards, not turn 1, turn 14. The turn 14 hairpin, which is really tricky under braking. Does TomNom Satnav get the car stopped? Yes, he does. Looks like Pigeon Chicken gets it stopped as well. Everybody in this cluster of cars gets it slowed down, and TomNom Satnav will be looking to catch up to Herminator 96, although that might be a bit difficult as he cuts across the turn 16 corner there. And I think Pigeon Chicken has come into the pits on the start of lap 1. So here is Herminator 96 right behind Contesta, going down in towards turn 1, and Contesta is the first driver to run it wide in towards turn 1. I said earlier in the preview to this race that running wide in turn 1 is very easy to do, and Contesta went and did exactly that. TomNom Satnav right behind the Ferrari driver right now, and A2G's D2 losing the back end through turn 4, through turn 5. Now he gives room to his teammate Herminator 96, who dives it up the inside in towards turn 6, clips the apex there, gives his teammate room on the outside, but he's got the position on his teammate up into P6, and oh no, he's been disconnected from the session. Luckily though, with F1 2016 you can rejoin, but for now he is going to be driving around as an AI car. But here we are looking at a replay of the start. So what happened to TomNom Satnav? A lot of wheel spin from all the drivers in front of him. That's why all the smoke is getting thrown up. TomNom Satnav very hesitant down in towards turn 1. He might as well qualify at the back of the grid if he's going to do that. And then he runs it wide into turn 1. He's still got a driver behind him, which is Pigeon Chicken. Fletcher 455 gaining a couple of positions. A2 Cheese D2 going for a spin there. Contesta, I think, had a collision with his teammate. TomNom Satnav, not realizing that he was ghosting, went sort of brake there, locked up. But that allowed Pigeon Chicken up position. Brobot runs wide. Pigeon Chicken maybe has to give back position because of yellow flags. Not too sure on that one. But TomNom Satnav gets very close to the back of Brobot. Pigeon Chicken just goes straight through at turn 6. Doesn't even look like he tried to brake, but I'm guessing he just completely missed his braking zone. And that's how TomNom Satnav got up into 5th position. Fletcher 455 running in 4th, I have to let you know. So that is a great position there from the Red Bull driver. And then TomNom Satnav running a little bit wide and gave back position to Brobot. So here's the start on board with Herminator 96. So a lot of wheel spin from both Contesta and Hironi Pepperoni. There was probably a lot of wheel spin from Herminator 96 as well. But going down in towards turn 1, look very, very close there between B Greeny 10 and Contesta. The two teammates nearly taking each other out at turn 1. A2 Cheese D2 just gets squeezed by B Greeny 10 in towards turn 1, in towards turn 2. And as Brobot tries to get out of the way of that collision, he cuts across Herminator 96, doesn't realise he's there. Not really Brobot's fault, he was just trying to get out of the way of the collision. And unfortunately, Herminator 96 came worse off and is all the way down in 9th position. But he made back positions on A2 Cheese D2, who's going very slowly down in towards turn 6. I think he actually just gave position to Herminator 96 on the left-hand side. Pigeon Chicken, then after running wide in towards turn 6, going straight through Brobot, is currently in P7. And Herminator 96, then we saw him drop down a couple of positions as well. But TomNom Satnav coming into the pits on the end of lap 2, braking very late for the pit entry. Not quite going into the wall. You do not want to do that. To end your race in the wall would be very, very embarrassing indeed. But TomNom Satnav, can he get slowed down for the line? Oh, just about getting the car slowed down for the line. Currently in P9 at the moment. Schilling down in 8th position. So I'm guessing he had a problem on lap 2. Maybe pitting very early on those sets of super softs. Brobot 1994 also joined. So it looked like he disconnected from the session as well, as Pigeon Chicken has been moved up into 9th place in today's race. But here is TomNom Satnav leaving the pit lane. It's a slow stop there from the Red Bull team, as it was a need for a front wing. And TomNom Satnav now going through turn 1, running it wide. Yes, he does, through turn 1 and turn 2. Runs it wide there, and that's got to be disappointing from the Red Bull drive. But we're back on board with Herminator 96, who has actually been able to join back into the session. And since then, he's actually had a helmet change, going from his custom one to Pascal Verline's. So the game messing up there and giving him Pascal Verline's helmet. But coming through the final corner now on lap 3. Herminator 96 coming down the start, finish straight. A2 Cheese D2 is into the pit, so you can just see the gap that A2 Cheese D2 got thanks to Herminator96 disconnecting. Who else is coming out of the pit lane? It's Heroni Pepperoni, and Herminator96 moves up into 4th position for now, runs it wide on turn 1, but just about managing to keep on the track and not getting caught out on the grass now. But Herminator96 up into P4. Tom Satnav looking like he's going to be making a few positions as well, moving up above Pigeon Chicken and slotting in just behind Contesta into turn 1, but completely messing up his racing line once again. And Tom Satnav has lost position there to, not lost position, but lost a bit of time to Contesta through turn 1. And he's spending more time off the racing line than on it. Even though he has a racing line on his screen, for some reason, he cannot stick to it. But Herminator96 coming through the final corner once again, getting past Fletcher455, who is running in 3rd position. That is a fantastic result there from the Red Bull driver, who's had a lot of collisions at the start of this season, but to be running in 3rd is a great result, and hopefully for him, he can keep that up. But we're back on board with Tom Satnav on lap 6 now, losing the back end all over the place because he's got a lot of grass on the tyres, and Schilling has retired from the session, and so has Heroni Pepperoni, and I can tell you that that was because of Heroni Pepperoni actually slowed down and had a collision with Schilling, actually crashed into him on purpose. So the stewards will definitely be looking into that as the race goes on, and that is probably going to result in a race ban at the least. It could possibly result in him getting disqualified from the whole entire racing league. But he's definitely got a disqualification from today's race. Unfortunately, Schilling in his first race will only pick up what would be 9th position in this race unless anybody else gets disqualified as we go throughout the race. But Tom Satnav losing the back end all over the place, goes into the side of Pigeon Chicken. That wasn't on purpose. Losing the back end all over the place. Tom Satnav really struggling with his rear tyres, and that's cost Pigeon Chicken so much. I know he's not exactly the best at this stage, but he is improving, and he has only just come back to racing. But Tom Satnav trying to be a good sport there, trying to let Pigeon Chicken back through, but because he's now all over the place with his back end, Tom Satnav decides not to do that. But both drivers just losing the back end all over the place in this race. It's really disappointing for both Tom Satnav and Pigeon Chicken. But he's moved up into 7th place for the time being because of that crash with Schilling and Heroni Pepperoni. And here is Tom Satnav coming into pits, going very, very slowly, making sure that he doesn't speed. If he speeds coming into the pits at this speed, okay, he didn't. But that could have been very, very disappointing indeed. Contest, I think, has just... No, Contest hasn't got past him. Has Pigeon Chicken just got past him? No, must have actually been lapped by possibly B Greeny 10, who was leading this race by a long way as well. So B Greeny 10 doing a fantastic job, and that is a really quick pit stop there from the Red Bull team. A 1.7 pit stop for Red Bull. Where on earth has that pit stop come from? That is lightning quick from the Red Bull pit crew. And there is Tom Satnav coming out of the pits on lap 7, right behind the championship leader of Herminator96, who is on lap 8 now. Is he going to be coming into the pits on this lap? Yes, he is. Herminator96 coming into the pit lane. Does he get the car slowed down? No, he doesn't. He takes a little trip into the gravel, but not losing too much time. He would have lost a bit of time there to his rival B Green 10, getting the car slowed down for the line. And Herminator96 is going to be coming into the pits for his first pit stop in today's race. What sort of time is it going to be? Is it going to be lightning quick, just like the Red Bull pit crew? I don't think it's going to be that quick. No, it's not. It's a 2.5 second stop. That's a really slow pit stop there from the Manor team. So you can just see the difference between pit crews. Red Bull getting a 1.7, whereas Manor only managed to do a 2.5 at this stage of the race. But he comes out still in 2nd place. So A2 Cheese D2 has lost a lot of time there on his previous stint. So disappointing there from the Manor driver. Tom Satnav, what are you doing? What sort of racing line is that? And you can see that it has not worked out for him. He's gone into the gravel, gone into the wall, but somehow has not got any front wing damage. So has come off very lucky there for the Red Bull driver. But here he is, still carrying on, still in 7th place, and still somehow ahead of Pigeon Chicken, who is in 8th. So Thomas Satnav doing an okay job in today's Chinese Grand Prix, but it doesn't look like he's going to be challenging with his teammate Fletcher455 for that 6th position, who, like I said, is having a fantastic race in 6th position here today. Herminator96 running in 2nd place behind B Greeny 10. Not too sure how far ahead B Greeny 10 is at this stage of the race. He's been disconnected once again. Disappointing there from the Manor driver. And Tom Satnav once again taking another trip across the gravel. He just can't keep his car on the track at this stage of the race. His tyres aren't even, you know, too high up in temperature. You know, usually when you run off the track, your tyres pick up a bit of temperature. And he's really struggling to get the rears going again, because they just like to spin up once you go off the track. But they didn't look, the temperature didn't look too bad on the Delta So not too sure what has been happening to TomTom Satnav, why he cannot keep it on the track. But here is Herminator96 rejoining the session once again, and that is good to see. We do want to see Herminator96 in this session and try and battle BGreen10 for that race win. But unfortunately, every time he disconnects, he just loses a little bit more time. So all the time that he picks up on BGreen10 when he's actually racing, he loses that when he gets disconnected. So for his sake, I hope that he does not get disconnected anymore in today's race. But here is TomTom Satnav coming in for his third pit stop, I want to say, in this race. It's only lap 12, and TomTom Satnav has already made 3 pit stops. He's still in 7th place. Brobot currently running in 6th, so that must mean Fletcher455 is either running in 4th or 5th position in today's race, because I believe A2 Cheese D2 is currently in 3rd. There's Fletcher455 going side by side with A2 Cheese D2, I believe that is, and that is a battle for 3rd position for the final podium spot. TomTom Satnav wants to join him as they all run wide through turn 1. I think A2 Cheese D2 has got that podium position away from Fletcher455. We cut a little bit later on the lap. Fletcher455 has lost position to A2 Cheese D2. A little bit disappointing, but still, Fletcher455, fantastic result for him in 4th. And is that TomTom Satnav making a legitimate overtake through turn 8? That is a great move for TomTom Satnav through turn 8 on his teammate. It may not be for position, it may just be to unlap himself against his teammate, but still, a fantastic move there for TomTom Satnav through turn 8, and that is lovely to see. When he can actually keep it on the track, he can do special things in that Red Bull, but unfortunately, I don't think he's actually going to be competing with Fletcher455 for any position, especially not with racing lines like that. I don't know why he is deciding to hug that right-hand side through turn 13, and once again, just getting off the track, getting out of the way for this driver who's coming through, which is Brobot1994. I think he held him up just a little bit as he swerved back onto the track, and here is Contesta getting through as well, and that's TomTom Satnav a complete lap down. And I'm not too sure where Pigeon Chicken is out on track, but I think he is having the same difficulties as well, as TomTom Satnav runs it very deep into turn 14, but good awareness there from the Red Bull driver. He knew that he was going to go in too deep, so he came off the brakes a bit too much. Came off the brakes a little bit and just dived it up the inside of Contesta to make sure that he didn't actually have a collision. And Pigeon Chicken is out of today's Chinese Grand Prix, unfortunately down in 8th position. He's crashed down in towards the turn 14 hairpin. I'm guessing he's lost the back end, kind of what TomTom Satnav's been doing down that straight, and that is very unfortunate for Pigeon Chicken on lap 18 on his first race back to the ProFormula Racing League. And safety car has been deployed in this Chinese Grand Prix because of that. Now that is really going to shake things up. Herminator96 is possibly going to be coming into the pits on the end of this lap, because there's 10 laps left to go. So if I was him, I'd probably go on for another set of medium tyres, which I think he is doing. Yes, he is. He is going to be coming into pits for another set of medium tyres, and which is pit stop was the next lap anyway. So that's perfect timing for the current championship leader. He's currently a little bit too high for his delta, but he manages to sort that out. But yeah, this is really going to shake up today's race. Not too sure what the gap is at the moment to BGreen10, but it's definitely going to close him up because he's in second. Unless there's lap drivers that are going to be in between him and BGreen10, then Herminator96 has a great chance of getting the race win away from his championship rival. But, you know, he just needs to get back to the pits. It's really slow under the safety car. Herminator96 driving really slowly at this stage of the race, just trying to make sure that delta stays green, because he's been flirting with it quite a bit, just dipping above and below the delta time. But it's 2 seconds at the moment, so I'm sure that he's going to be fine. I think that's BGreen10 coming into the pits right now. So that is the gap at the moment between Herminator96 and BGreen10. He could stay out and try and hold out in front of BGreen10, but the fact that he's coming into the pits the next lap anyway, he's probably going to be coming into pits on this lap. So I think there's another driver up ahead coming into pits, but I believe that was a Red Bull. So it's either TomTom Satnav or it's Fletcher455, as of course they are the only 2 Red Bull drivers. Herminator96 coming into the pits, 36 miles an hour, so he gets it stopped before the line. And BGreen10, I believe that is going through turn 1 at the moment, has a huge, significant lead over Herminator96. But unfortunately, that lead is going to come down as Herminator96 leaves the pit lane, catches up to the safety car queue, and will be right on his tail. Fletcher455 exiting the pit lane. He will be in between these two, so it's going to be a bit annoying for Herminator96 because he's going to have a lapped car in front of him, which may lose him a little bit of time on the safety car restart if Fletcher455's awareness is not as great as Herminator96's. But there's only one lapped car at the moment, so it should be Okay, so Herminator 96 will be trying to catch up to the safety car queue. Not too sure where TomTom's sat-nav is on the track at the moment. Of course, they are the only two drivers with point of views. Unfortunately, maybe... Oh, no, there's actually been a disconnection from Herminator 96. Luckily for him, it's happened at the safety car when the safety car's out, so he won't lose too much time to the rest of the other drivers. And TomTom's sat-nav's racing line is a little bit messed up there. It was red all the way down that, so usually it isn't like that. It gives you a little bit of warning before you have to brake, and still very much red on TomTom's sat-navs. Oh, he goes very deep into the pit lane there, goes into the barrier, and has completely damaged his front wing now. Not too sure where he got that front wing damage on the left-hand side. And he's also got a drive-through penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Disappointing there for TomTom's sat-nav as he comes into the pits. And this is really disappointing for the Red Bull driver. It's going to be losing so much time to everybody else. There is somebody just a few car lengths ahead of him who just came into the pits as well. So he could be battling with him. But I think he's still a lap down. But Fletcher 455... running in 6th place, still a fantastic result for the Red Bull driver, and he can possibly pick up more positions as we are under safety car conditions, but unfortunately I think he's going to be a lap down to most of the other drivers in the field. TomTom's sat-nav going through turn 1 and then through turn 2, and just going through turn 7 at the moment on board with TomTom's sat-nav, still losing the back end all over the place under safety car. How do you manage that? You're not exactly going too fast, and he's gone straight into the barrier, lost his front wing. And that has completely ruined his race. If there was any chance of him getting back in a fight with Fletcher 455, that has completely gone now for TomTom's sat-nav. And it's really disappointing to see this from a guy who won 2 races in Season 1 to be now batting right down the back of the field, racing absolutely no one, being about 2-3 laps down and losing out so much time. And once again, gone straight into the barrier because he has no downforce coming into the pit lane, losing all that time once again. And I would be not surprised if he's about 3 or 4 laps down in this race at this time being. But TomTom's sat-nav getting it stopped for the marks there, and now coming into the pits for probably about his 5th pit stop in today's race. So not the best of races for TomTom's sat-nav, but the safety car is coming in on this lap, and TomTom's sat-nav is nowhere near the rest of the pack. So the safety car coming in this lap, so that will be exciting to see. We're currently watching on board with TomTom's sat-nav now. This is not what we want to watch. So why are we watching TomTom's sat-nav? We want to be watching the safety car restart on board with Herminator 96 because he's going to be right behind B Green 10 at this stage of the race. He just has to get past Fletcher 455. But it'll be very exciting to see how Herminator 96 does this. So here we are on the long straight down in towards turn 14. B Green 10 backing up the pack at the moment. Maybe not doing as good of a job as he really should be. Maybe he should be backing up the pack a bit more, going a lot slower than this. You know, 70 miles an hour. When on the safety car restart, you should really be doing about 40 and then literally just hammering it when you decide that you want to restart the race. But TomTom's sat-nav, and he's been given permission at this stage of the race to actually retire from it because he's so far behind. He's not going to be getting any more positions in this race unless anybody crashes, and TomTom's sat-nav is out of today's race. But it does mean that we do get an off-board view of the rest of the guys as the safety car has come in and the race has restarted. Fletcher 455 moving over to the left-hand side. There was a Ferrari of Contessa losing it, or getting it all out of shape through the final corner. But B Green 10 has a huge gap at this stage of the race over Herminator 96. Going through turn 1 and turn 2 now. And Herminator 96, oh, there's a bit of lag there in the lobby for Herminator 96. B Green 10 car actually going inside of him. But Herminator 96 will be looking to catch up to the rest of the field. Still on board with Fletcher 455, currently running down in 6th position. He is a lap down to the rest of these drivers, so he will be letting through Contesta and Brobot 1994. There is Fletcher 455 hugging the inside line through turn 6. That is good sportsmanship there from the Red Bull driver. On board with A2 Cheese D2. Can he pick up anything in today's race? He's not too far behind these two guys. He is on the super soft tyres, even though the off-board camera shows him on mediums. He is actually on the super soft tyres. So if he can do something on these tyres, then he can certainly catch up to both Herminator 96 and B Green 10. If they get involved in a battle as well, then he can definitely get involved with the battle for for the lead of the race. But here we are on lap 26 at the moment, still watching on board with this battle of Herminator 96 and B Green 10. Herminator 96 a little bit closer to B Green 10 than he was at the end of the safety car restart. B Green 10 coming round the final corner, not the final corner, turn 13. Now Herminator 96 right on the tail of the Ferrari driver, going down in towards turn 14 on this long straight. Herminator 96 in the slipstream, following. He will get DRS down in towards turn 14. It should be a fairly easy move for the Manor driver. Going down, no, there's contact between BGreedy10 and Herminator96. Not too sure what's happened there. I think Herminator96 must have lost it when he had the DRS open, turned the steering wheel too much, lost the back end, and put it straight into BGreedy10. Is there any damage for Herminator96? I don't think there is, but that is disaster for BGreedy10. He was leading the race for so long. The safety car came out at the wrong time for him, and that is really disappointing for today's race. We were looking forward to an exciting battle between those two, and Herminator96 has sort of ruined that. So he will definitely be under Stewart's investigation, and we'll be hopefully waiting for a replay to see on board of that. But A2 Cheese D2 has moved up into second place, and if Herminator96, who has just been disconnected from the session, so he's going to be losing even more time, he could certainly be in a battle for the lead of the race. But here it is, another replay on board with BGreedy10 now. So going down in towards turn 14, Herminator96 right behind him, moves over to the right-hand side, and then just loses the back end, goes into the side of BGreedy10, plops over at the turn 14 hairpin, so maybe there was just a little bit of lag there, but looks like he must have done a 360 spin. So let's see on board with Herminator96 exactly what's happened. So look for him to lose the back end as he has DRS open, going down in towards turn 14. So here he is moving over to the right-hand side, and no, okay. So there must have just been lag in the session. That is really unfortunate there for BGreedy10 to be out of the race due to lag. There was no contact on Herminator96's screen. On Herminator96's screen, it looked like BGreedy10 actually crashed into him, but that's not how we saw it on BGreedy10's screen. We saw it where Herminator96 lost the back end and went into the side of BGreedy10. But there is a little, as Herminator96 has come back into the session, there is a warning there that he must use the softs or the medium tyres in this race. So I think because he has been disconnected, it's now reset his tyres, and it's told him that he needs to come into the pits for a new set of tyres. So that is what he has to do, otherwise he will get disqualified from today's race. And Herminator96 not making the best of choices there, trying to switch onto the super soft tyres, and now speeding as he came into the pit lane. His race has gone from bad to worse, and A2 Cheese D2 has got the chance to get his first ever race win in the Pro Formula Racing League. Going down in towards turn 1 at the moment, he has a huge lead over Herminator96, who's still getting service, getting a new front wing. Can he get in front of Robot 1994, who's come into the pits down in towards the end of the lap? Is that Robot 1994 coming into pits? I'm not too sure actually, but here is Herminator96 coming around turn 1 at the moment, and I don't think that he's going to be able to catch up with A2 Cheese D2, so disappointing there for Herminator96 to lose out so much time. Robot now leaving the session. That's going to be disappointing for him on the final lap, but he should be able to get back into the session and still be able to reclaim that third position in today's race. But Herminator96 has a 14-second gap to A2 Cheese D2 at this stage of the race, which is really, really big gap for A2 Cheese D2. There he is on screen at the moment, going down in towards turn 11. Then in towards turn 12 and turn 13. The man who has never won a race in the Pro Formula Racing League. He's got a front left puncher. A2 Cheese D2 has got a front left puncher at the end of this Chinese Grand Prix. Can he get back to the start finish line? Herminator96 has a 20-second time penalty, remember. So if he does lose position to his teammate, then he can still win the race, but it just depends on where Herminator96 is out on track. There was 14 seconds that he needed to catch up. He should do that with the puncher, and here he is going down the long straight down towards turn 14. He does need to be aware because A2 Cheese D2 is going slowly out on track down in towards turn 14. Side by side, Robot has been disqualified from the session. That was because he had the same problem as Herminator96, having to come into the pits for a new set of tyres, so he will count as a DNF instead of a disqualification. But here he is coming through the final corner now. Herminator96 will take the checkered flag, but we don't know whether he will take the race win or not. We're just going to have to wait and see as A2 Cheese D2 comes across the line. He's coming across the line in second at the moment, which has changed to first place. So I think he has actually got his first ever race win in the Pro Formula Racing League. A great result there for the Manor driver. A lot of controversy in today's race, which will be investigated after. Contestant will come around the final corner now. He's down in third position, and it's not been the best of races for Contessa starting in second, but he's still on the podium for the first time since his return to the league. So that's a very, very good result for him. And then we just have Fletcher 455 out on track at the moment as a contestant goes through turn 1, celebrating his podium in this Chinese Grand Prix. But here is Fletcher 455. He's currently in 4th position, but that will count for 6th because there was a bit of mess up with the tables with B Green 10 and Brobot. But Fletcher 455 coming round the final corner now. He's had a fantastic race in today's Chinese Grand Prix, and he will take home a great 4th position in today's Chinese Grand Prix. A great result for Fletcher 455. He will be very, very happy with that result indeed. But was he your driver of the day? Don't forget to go vote in the top right hand corner of your screens. And here we are on board with Herminator 96, who is actually the race winner in the top left-hand corner. So, not too sure who actually won the race out of Herminator 96 and A2 Cheese D2. We're just going to have to wait and see. And looking at the standings, the final stands, the confirmation for today's race. A2 Cheese D2 is a race winner in the Pro Formula Racing League. His first ever race win, and he will be delighted with that and picking up some crucial points there for Mana. Herminator 96 does finish in 2nd place. Hasn't been given a penalty by the stewards at the moment for that collision with B Green 10, but that will be investigated throughout the week, so we will find out at the Spanish Grand Prix whether he gets penalised or not. But he did have a 20-second time penalty in the end, finishing 2 seconds behind A2 Cheese D2 and unfortunately missing out on that hat-trick of race wins. Contessa finishes today's race in 3rd place. A good race for him back in the Pro Formula Racing League, getting his first ever podium since his return. Brobot 1994 finishing in 4th position despite getting disqualified. He might have been able to get that podium. I think he was ahead of Contessa, but because he got disqualified at the time, Contessa got past him and it counts as a DNF for where Brobot 1994 actually finished. B Green 10, he finished in 5th position after having that crash with Herminator 96. He could have got 2nd place, or he could have even got the race win if he could hold off Herminator 96 if there wasn't any lag in the session, with Fletcher 455 being 3 laps down and finishing in 6th place. A decent race there for Fletcher 455, a great result from the Red Bull driver, and a race he will be certainly happy with. He should have probably got a bit more if he was maybe one less lap down. He would have got past B Green 10, and if he was on the lead lap, then he certainly would have got past Robot 1994 and would have got a 4th position in today's race. Tonom Satnav finished down in 7th place after DNFing on purpose. He just retired from the race. He was so far down that he got given the permission to quit out of the race. I think it was like 3 laps down from Fletcher 455, who was already 2 laps down at that stage of the race. So Tonom Satnav, you know, really far down from the rest of the field, and just there was no point in him racing anymore. And in return, we got some great off-board cameras, especially with that crash between B Green 10 and Herminator 96, and there wouldn't have really been much controversy about that collision because we wouldn't have seen the view on board with B Green 10. But Pigeon Chicken, he finished down in 8th position in his return to the Pro Formula Racing League, so he picks up a comfortable 4 points there. Schilling in his first ever race, disappointing for him. He got taken out by Haroni Pepperoni, and he'll be furious about that, but he will pick up 2 points here today. Haroni Pepperoni getting disqualified from today's race, finishes down in 10th position, but for some reason getting 1 point there, but that is not actually true. He actually got 0 points for today's race after getting a disqualification, and he's actually got a 1 race ban for the Russian Grand Prix, and is also on a 3 race trial for Spain, Monaco and Canada to decide whether he will stay in a Pro Formula Racing League or not. Curtis, unfortunately, despite taking part in both practice and the qualifying sessions, could not get into the lobby for the race, so he counts as a DNS. So taking a look at how this affects the driver standings after round 3 of the Pro Formula Racing League, Herminator 96 still leads the way, 22 points over his closest rival B Green 10, but we will have to wait and see whether those points stay the same at the Spanish Grand Prix, because the stewards will be investigating into that crash throughout the whole entire week. A2 Cheese D2 moves back up into 3rd position, 6 points behind B Green 10 at this stage of the season, so he'll be looking to try and get that 2nd place and possibly even catch up to his teammate Herminator 96. Tomnom Satnav and Curtis move down below A2 Cheese D2 in 4th and 5th, with Fletcher 455 keeping his 6th position. Contesta moves above Brobot 1994 up into 7th place on 21 points. 1 point behind Fletcher 455, 3 points behind Curtis. So it's very close between Curtis and Brobot at this stage of the season. Brobot 1994 currently in 8th position on 20 points. Pigeon Chicken in his first race is in 9th on the 4 points, with Schilling down the bottom in 10th. And Haroni Pepperoni still yet to score a point in the Pro Formula Racing League on 0 points after today's race. And the constructors standings looks a little bit like this. Manor Racing getting a 1-2 here today, are currently on 108 points. But once again, Herminator 96 is under Stewart's investigation. So we'll just have to wait and see whether they hold on to those 108 points or not. Scuderia Ferrari are 41 points behind them at this stage of the season, with Red Bull Racing actually quite close to Ferrari at this stage. 53 points on board, mainly because Contesta hasn't really been getting the points as much as B Green 10 has, apart from today's race. Whereas Fletcher 455 has actually been quite consistent in the season. He may have crashed out, but he's always got around the 4th to 6th position in the season so far. No real other change in the standings. Toro Rosso are very close to Renault at this stage of the season. Only 4 points separate those two. And of course, the newcomers of Pigeon Chicken and Schilling at this stage of the season are currently got their teams of Mercedes and McLaren on 4 and 2 points respectively. That is it for today's race at the Chinese Grand Prix. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you can join me next week, November the 7th, for round 4, the Russian Grand Prix. But until then, it's goodbye from me.